going.
Days departed in the darkened air, released the creatures of the earth from their labour, and I alone.
That's fine. So just to reinforce that cast, with these transitions, you'll hear...
Midway in the journey of our life, I came to myself in a dark wood, for the straight way was lost.
Through storytelling, we learn empathy, and that's more important than ever.
"700 years ago, the poet Dante Alighieri fled his home city of Florence, a refugee from civil war and political persecution.
Dante ci risveglia alla sensibilità verso la storia e le ferite degli altri.
I have travelled like a stranger, almost like a beggar, through virtually all the regions to which this tongue of ours extends, displaying against my will the wound of fortune. Truly I have been a ship without sail or rudder, blown by the dry wind that painful poverty blows."
In these years of exile, Dante's Divine Comedy was conceived, a dream journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise, in 100 cantos of some of the most sublime poetry ever written.
Men, women, children, babes in arms, even all refugees, just like Dante was.
This September the 13th and 14th, to mark the 700th anniversary of Dante's death, Ralph Fiennes, Helen Mirren, Adjoa Ando, Jessie Buckley and Dominic West join forces with an internationally acclaimed cast in a once-in-a-lifetime live reading of the whole of Dante's Divine Comedy,
helping them build friendships and hope.
Raising funds for the Community of Sant'Egidio, working with refugees and migrants in Florence.
Dante ha vissuto la storia, è un uomo che ha conosciuto la guerra, è stato esule, in qualche modo, idealmente, lungo i secoli, anche la sua storia si riconnette a noi.
The Community of Sant'Egidio works in more than 70 countries, enabling those fleeing war and persecution to find safe passage to places of refuge, supporting their integration into new communities, facilitating their engagement with new languages and cultures, helping refugees to find a new home.
My name is Amaka Okafor. I think what draws me to the text so much is that Dante wrote it while he was going through a real life crisis. He was having a horrible time. I have just come out of a horrible time, and I think art really helps you deal with the complexities that life throws at you, all the different choices that you have to make, and then you look back over your shoulder at those choices that you made and wish you'd made different ones. I feel like this text really speaks to the rich experience of what it is to be a human being when it's good, but also when it's painful and difficult. I would like people to imagine what it's like being lost, like the refugees are lost, like Dante was lost, with nothing to call your own. Because this thing that we're raising money for is to help refugees, people that don't have anything. And there's so much of that echoes in the text. So I would like to be able to pull those aspects out of each three of these pieces of work for people to feel that.
I'm Justin Butcher, director and co-producer of Speaking Dante. It's one thing to talk about philosophy, ideas about life, judgment, heaven and hell, the meaning of life, our journey through life. To talk about that in theoretical terms and have ideas about it. It's even another thing to write it. But Dante goes a step further and creates the most incredible, dramatic and imaginative embodiment of his ruminations about our journey, the journey of our life, and how we travel towards who we are meant to be. We see that all the souls of people who were not baptized in the Christian faith because they lived before the time of Christ, well, they're lost, so they live in limbo. And this extraordinary scene in the third canto of Inferno, where we see all of these lost souls on the shores of the river Acheron, waiting for Charon to ferry them across. And all it made me think of was crowds of refugees crowding onto flimsy craft to undertake perilous journeys across the Mediterranean. And this project, of course, we're doing in partnership with the Community of Sant'Egidio and their work with refugees and migrants in Italy.
Hello, my name's Andy Harrison, and I've been a professional actor for about 35 years, a long time, far too long. And I've been working with Justin Butcher, the director of this show, for 20 years. The best thing is it's just a huge privilege to be involved in this, what we call readathon, the whole thing in 24 hours, and to come to grips with this amazing script, especially on the 700th anniversary of his death. There are certain instances which jump straight out of the page, and it's extraordinary what a contemporary feel the text still has. We are doing this work for a charitable foundation to help those refugees from terrible situations, and there are moments in Dante's text where he riles, he raves, he speaks vehemently against the terrible corruption and the affluence and the smug self-satisfaction of the very wealthy Florentines, and of course for that could be any of us in the West who are so perhaps self-satisfied with the way things are. And it's a clarion call, a warning to the world to wake up, and it's a message that needs to be heard. What do we hope to impart to the audience? Well, just that Dante's powerful, emotional, vibrant, challenging and moving and beautiful script will speak to people today in the way that it always has down the centuries. If we do that, we'll all be very happy.
My name's Julia Holden, and I am the producer of the Speaking Dante event. Well, it brings a group of people together, a group of very diverse people to whom Dante has spoken, and it's just incredible that a writer from 700 years ago is still very popular or well known today. His words have travelled through 700 years to reach us and still have so much to say to people living in this world today. And I love the fact that we're doing this for a charity. We're doing this for Sant'Egidio, an organisation which helps migrants in many different ways, and in particular it teaches migrants Italian. And Dante, being the father of the Italian language, the first poet to not write his poetry in Latin, but to write his poetry in Italian, and the fact that he was an exile from the city of Florence, and we are raising funds for current exiles in the city of Florence. That's one of my favourite aspects of the project, the circularity of it, the fact that it makes sense.
My name's Jan Noble and I'm a poet. Absolutely thrilled to be taking part in the Speaking Dante event. For me, the Divine Comedy is like a cathedral of poetry, an immense structure with dark gargoyles lurking in strange corners and beautiful moments of light from stained glass filtering through it. One of the great challenges for me is working as part of an ensemble cast. As a poet, I'm only used to performing my own work and just by myself, so it's a real challenge, which is what is so wonderful about this poem, that there are so many voices
so many layers and so many textures.
To someone seated there. Rise, Corrado. Come and see.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Butcher. I think it's amazing to work with so many different actors of so many different ages and stages. I'm the youngest one here, which is incredible experience for me. And I feel very lucky to get the chance to share the stage with such incredible performers.
More than 1,000 have been...
It's obviously challenging as well though, because, you know, I'm just starting out and, you know, Ralph Fiennes is in the same production as me. Like, what the hell? That's amazing. But also so exciting. And I think another challenge of it is all the wordiness of Dante. It's so beautiful, the language used, and I really hope that that comes across through our performance, which is 24 hours long, so it's going to get tiring. I hope that we can do that. I think we can. I think that will definitely happen.
Hello, my name's Rupert Mason. I'm an actor taking part in Speaking Dante. One of the things that's been really fascinating about taking part in this project is obviously coming to Italy, to be able to perform something which is so important to Italy. You know, it's the Italian version of Shakespeare, I guess, and to be able to just leap into that part of the culture here in Italy. A lot of the references are obscure. I mean, even to Italians, a lot of the references are obscure. So to somebody coming from England, the references are very difficult. And of course, one of our jobs as actors is to make things that are difficult more understandable. And especially with poetry, I always think, you know, when an actor recites poetry, we're not expecting the audience to understand every word we say, but at least we can make it more understandable than an audience reading it for the first time. And of course, I mean, a lot of the English speakers, you know, struggle with the Italian names and the place names and the character names. And Dante's full of lists of character names, and getting your head around that can be a bit of a challenge.
I'm Janice Aqua. I'm an actor based in London. I'm also a psychotherapist, and I grew up in Ghana. It's really exciting to be a part of this project. It's fantastic to be in Tuscany and to be in Florence. Florence was a city my mother always loved, and she brought me here as a teenager. It's really exciting to be part of this project, partly because of the involvement of Sant'Egidio, the charity for which we're raising funds. It's doing such amazingly important work with refugees, the humanitarian corridors, and its message is one of hospitality, not hostility. And at a time when there's so much going on in the world affecting asylum seekers, people needing refuge, to be supporting a charity like this is very important. And of course, Dante himself was in exile from Florence. 700 years ago, he was exiled. And so the links from then to today are really significant. As an actor, it's a fantastic opportunity to get to work on a text like this. Dante's narrative is so rich. It's full of lots of classical references, obviously, and amazing metaphors. And it's a joy to be working with such language. It's to be live streaming and challenge of 24 hours. We're looking forward to it. It's very exciting, and yeah, I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Hi, my name is Kenneth from Omole from London, and I'm so excited for the Speaking Dante project. I can't wait to meet you all who come to watch. How rich the language is, and just the stories that are being told, I think you can learn a lot. So looking forward to seeing you there. Because the language is so rich and so detailed, it's important to not kind of rush through it and make sure that you're taking the audience on a journey. So I think that's been the most fun but most challenging thing at the same time. And lastly, I just want the audience to leave knowing more about Dante and his work. I think a lot of people can learn from his work. So yeah, I want the audience to have fun as well when they watch it, and just kind of relax and take in what's being told, the stories that are being told.
through the world of endless bitterness and upward on the...
Hi, my name is Clara Francesca and I'm an Australian-Italian actress who's now based in New York City. Doing this project with Julia Holden and Justin Butcher has been really, really special for me. It's been really wonderful to return to Italy, get into Dante as a child. I recited a lot of Dante in Italian for poetry competitions at high school. And then as an adult, it's really cool to come back to this material and try it in English with such a great translation. And you learn, I think, a lot more when you come back to material after a few years.
Hello, my name is Mary Chater. I'm a Dante virgin. I knew the name Beatrice, I knew the name Dante, but I knew nothing about the Divine Comedy, and I'm learning so much. It's a monumental work of art, isn't it? The poetry and the humanity in the language, as this man is having the layers, as Dante is having the layers of the onions peeled back in the care of Virgil, to find out what each stage of the journey holds. So I just hope to excite the audience occasionally.
To have a group of 10 actors on the stage, to have magnificent images behind the actors, to have words, you know, Dante's poetry on one side in Italian, Dante's poetry on the other side in English, to find the right translation, to get the rights for the translation, and to put it all together and make everything work perfectly for 24 hours. It's completely mad. But I think that the madness about it makes it so special. I think one of the things that Dante shows us is that we all have a chance, we all have dark moments. Many of us go through a kind of hell in certain moments of our lives, but that there's always hope. So I want the audience, I hope that this communicates to the audience how relevant Dante is, the way he saw the world.
From which point we would understand, again, in a new way, that we are all sisters and brothers. We do belong to each other. We are responsible for each other. We are all connected. Nobody's in or out. How can there be a heaven if there's a hell? What would it be like to enjoy eternal bliss in paradise, knowing of the eternal suffering of those in prison? And by inviting us into the imagining of such a world, he overturns that world. And this is an astonishing experiment. I feel profoundly grateful to have had the chance to be immersed in it in such intensity and concentration, with such a wonderful group of artists, performers, video and sound designers, to realize it. And I feel I'm full up, and it would now be digesting for months, years, and I hope that we can make something from all of this footage that other people will be able to see as a sort of legacy of what we've done.
Così dovremo sentire un po' nostre tutte le città del mondo. Per questo vi ringrazio per la vostra iniziativa e vi auguro buon lavoro.
Questa testimonianza, questa voce ci fa guardare insieme al futuro.